Bore Pow. Good morning to everybody. Welcome to the first of a series of videos which is going to be focused on developing mentoring strategies and skills across the Athrova Professional Learning Partnership as we support student teachers on their professional teaching experience in schools. This first video is going to be focused in particular on developing the relationship between mentors and student teachers through getting to know student teachers and their educational experience in a little bit more depth. Now, before we get started in earnest, it's important at this stage to recognise that our approach here at the APLP is very much centred upon guiding, supporting and inspiring student teachers whilst they are in schools. Obviously, in order for mentors to be able to do that effectively, it's really important that they understand the background of the student teacher, not just their personal circumstances, but importantly, their educational experiences. Teaching is relatively unique, whereby everybody who comes into the profession has had a long period of observation in terms of being recipients, a product, if you like, of the educational system in which they have been through. Byrne, Haggart and Mutton in particular have spoken about identifying the emotional attachments that student teachers have to particular teaching and learning strategies, obviously as a learner, and then the importance or the significance of a mentor being able to unpick those, identify points of reference that can be drawn back to through feedback, and also supporting them to make links between their practice as student teachers in the classroom and perhaps their prior experience. So here at the APLP, we have put together a series of resources to support mentors in this endeavour. First of all, one of our mini guides supports mentors in identifying a point of reference in terms of identifying, for example, what the inspiration was for student teachers to enter the teaching profession, why they wanted to be a teacher, and hopefully that will elicit responses that shine a light on their position with regards to education. For example, if there was a particular teacher who inspired them through engaging them in particular activities or perhaps group work as an example, but something really that you can use as a mentor to reflect on and draw the student teachers' attention to throughout their training. It's also important to touch upon how they felt about, for example, lessons they enjoyed and didn't enjoy. And again, whether it's conscious or otherwise, it might be that the student teachers begin to incorporate some of those ideas into their own planning. For example, if they were big fans of group work, you might notice as a mentor that their default position when approaching lesson planning is to include group activities. Whilst that might have been appropriate to them as learners at that point, obviously the question there is whether it is in the learner's best interests, those learners who are in front of them today. It's also important to begin to move the student teacher's gaze towards how their experiences of education will impact them as a teacher. As I said, either positively or negatively, but making sure that they are really mindful of the fact that they are entering this profession with a real bank of experiences, which will undoubtedly impact the way they behave and teach and support learners in their classrooms. So our mini guides are just one resource which you can use to support those conversations in those early stages of professional teaching experience. But the other is the one-page profile, which all student teachers have now completed and uploaded to their respective SharePoint areas. But this one-page profile will really give the mentor an insight into the background of the student teacher. So, for example, student teachers will put forward the ways that they feel they learn best, the support that they may need on placement, but also what they feel they can contribute to you in terms of a reciprocal relationship, but also contribute towards a school setting. That one-page profile, we ask all mentors to spend some time with our student teachers very early on in their placement, making sure that time and space is given to really developing in-depth conversations. Finally, as an additional activity for mentors to embark upon, we kindly ask that they reflect upon their own experiences as mentors, much like the previous messages with regards to student teachers' experience of being a product, if you like, of their education. Mentors will undoubtedly have their own points of reference with regards to mentoring experiences. Perhaps you've had student teachers before where some strategies worked, or perhaps some strategies didn't. Thinking about how that will influence your approach towards this student teacher is really important. Also, your own experiences of being a mentee. I think it's fair to say that we can all remember our first mentor, and it's really important to think about how that influences our practice today. Whether, again, that's positive and there are some elements of that mentoring experience you can bring into your own practice, or perhaps there are things that on reflection you recognise actually you could do slightly differently with your mentee today. As I said, this is a very short, bite-sized video, which really brings this initial part of supporting student teachers to the fore. But hopefully you found these videos helpful and you'll continue to engage with them throughout the PTE. Diolch yn fawr pawb for listening, and I'll see you again soon. Diolch.